Greg Milton changed his name.
I'm getting hot on the feet here. I'm showing the idea.
Not long after they married, they had a couple of kids, John and Bianca. John was the firstborn, and Gina kept it very private.
And the son, John Langley, is yet another in need of Gina's time. Time that's increasingly more valuable as the deals are done and more iron ore is taken from the earth.
Is it possible, though, to give him a normal upbringing?
As long as we can give the most normal sort of balanced base that is possible, he'll be able to handle this very well.
Gina, after she married Greg, really got much more involved in the business. Her father needed her more and more because he was getting sick. And Greg really didn't find his place.
Where does he fit in the family empire?
Well, we both think it's best that he has outside interests rather than just being engulfed in whatever I'm doing.
Purely outside interests or outside interests as well, do you think?
I think it's if he has his main interests apart from just the family.
I was a reporter with the Daily News in Perth, and I got this call, and the guy at the other end said, would you be interested in taking a ride in a taxi driven by Greg Hayward? The driver was a young, good-looking man, and I said, are you Greg Hayward, Gina's husband? And he said, no, I'm not. I'm Greg Milton. So I made a search and I found, in fact, that Greg had changed by deed-poll his name back from Hayward to Milton, and that his divorce was made absolute 2 or 3 months earlier in Sydney. The story came out and it made quite an impact, and I thought maybe there would be follow-ups, but nothing came, and I suspect that the heavy hand of Hancock came down at some height, and that was the beginning and the end of the Greg story.
In 1979, on the Wake Up Australia flight, Gina launched herself to the Australian public. This was a tour around the country of a group of like-minded people who all shared Lang Hancock's conservative, ultra-right-wing view of Australia.
And Premier Jodie Peterson will talk to you about the proposed West Australian to Queensland railway.
It was meant to be a flight to honour my father, where I would have a very minor role. But both he and one of his very special friends, Dr. Teller, both were in hospital, and they were meant to be the 2 prime guests. So instead it became the Joe and Flo and Gina flight, which was never intended.
And then, flying at about 35,000 feet, she did an interview with Edward Teller.
Hello, Dr. Teller, can you hear me? How are you? It's wonderful to hear you. It's the first time I've made a phone chat with you like this over 35,000 feet.
Lang would have been extremely impressed with what she did, and I would suspect that Lang would have been glad that it happened that way, because it gave Gina a chance to shine and a chance to step out from under Lang's shadow. In sitting down and talking to other journos that were on the Wake Up Australia flight, we asked ourselves, would she be as strong and independent and self-focused, single-minded as a father? And we looked at Gina on that plane and we said, is this the start of something new for Gina? Was this the start of the new House of Hancock?